All right, should we do Watch This, Jerks?
Sure.
I almost watched the whole movie.
How was it?
I watched, Mrs. Cheapy and I watched Wonka as a big, I'm a big Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory fan. I read the book. I read the two books. There's probably more than two, but I read whatever the second book was. The Great Glass Elevator is what it was, actually.
That is what it is, yes.
So I saw it was on HBO Max, and I convinced Mrs. Cheapy. She didn't want to watch it, and I was like, let's just check it out. Like, it's supposed to be like got good reviews. I like Willy Wonka. It'll probably be visually interesting to look at.
You do like factories and slave labor. I know that's one of the things you're into.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Have you seen it?
Nope.
Do you know anything about it?
Nope.
I didn't know anything about it either. I didn't know if it was a remake or whatever.
It's a prequel, right?
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
Before he was making chocolates.
I didn't even know that.
I knew that much.
I didn't know that. I just managed to like completely ignore whatever this is about, just because I feel like the Gene Wilder movie is pretty great.
I don't know if it's great, but sure.
I mean, for its time, it was pretty great. I don't know how it holds up in 2024. It held up great in college when I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of bongs. I remember going in college watching it, convincing my friends to watch it, and we went to the candy store first. And then we smoked bongs and watched it. Yeah. Anyway, this movie is a prequel, and I knew we were in trouble.
I could smell that burp from here.
It was like coffee and Japanese food. It was exactly what that was. And Gorilla Dong. It starts off, he's on a boat. Like he's like working on a boat. And I'm like, oh no, this is not
Was
good.
it raining? Was it snowing? Was a hurricane blowing?
Do you want to watch Willy Wonka get enslaved? We watched the first 40 minutes and then I bailed. When I bailed at the 40-minute mark, he was enslaved. It was very dumb. This movie's very dumb is the problem. He has no money, so he has to pay a room for rent. He needs a room for rent. He signs like this ridiculously long contract, which he looks at and knows it's fucking ridiculous. And someone even tells him before he signs, like, read the small print. He looks at it, he sees it, he signs it anyway, and they're like, oh, you just pay us like $1 a day and later. But it says basically you're our slave. And so now he's their slave in their laundromat. And that's like the movie for the first 40 minutes basically is him being a slave and then like trying to like sell people his CG chocolate. Do you want to see CG chocolate? Because this movie's got CG chocolate, at least in the first 40 minutes. I never made it to the Oompa Loompa. And I was actually surprised that I made it when I looked at it, it was 40 minutes. I was like, I already made it 40 minutes and none of this has happened. It's almost like, Transformers and Optimus Prime showing up like 50 minutes in for the first time. I don't know. Maybe then the rest of the movie's fucking fantastic, but
how are the songs?
Not good. He's Timothy Chalamet. I don't think he's like a singer, right?
No.
Yeah, he's not a good singer. And you can hear that in the songs. That's all. But maybe the second half has great songs.
I'll let you know. I'm sure I'll watch that.
Your kids, I don't know. Like they're like, do you want to watch a guy, like a likable, goofy guy be enslaved? Like with other slaves?
We watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure for the first time.
Oh, how was that?
I've seen that before.
I saw that in the theaters. Did you see that in the theaters? Was that?
It's possible.
Maybe.
I remember seeing it.
Probably did. I mean, I watched it so many times when I was younger that like all my memories are watching it on TV because that's where I watched it so much. But
I don't know why I have such a vivid memory of seeing it in the theaters. Maybe because it's a great movie. But anyway,
visually, it's a very entertaining movie.
I could even tell you who I saw it with and all that, but it's not important. Go on with your story.
So did we ever find out, was there ever a cut scene where he was supposed to use the boomerang bow tie? Do you remember that? He gets the boomerang bow tie when he goes and he gets like the flashlight.
I know there are significant,
and he gets the trick gun, or the trick gum, and like He never uses the boomerang bow tie.
I'm trying to think because I know there are some cut scenes. Like there's a lot of stuff that was cut at that mini mall, between the mini mall and when he has everyone over to, when he does the slideshow presentation.
Hmm?
So I know there's a good chunk of, I've seen those scenes. I don't think he uses the boomerang bow tie during that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something else. There are a lot of deleted scenes from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Which is great because it's an hour and a half long.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like
Remember
a dull
that?
minute throughout the whole thing.
Nope.
Yeah,
I pity the
it holds
fool
up very
that doesn't have a good 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
You know what had a lot of dull minutes? Wonka.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of movies with dull moments, I watched Damsel on Netflix.
I don't know what this is. What is this?
That is the Millie Bobby Brown starring and produced film where she plays a princess from a smaller, very cold, starving village who is arranged to be married to a very wealthy king and another, kingdom. And when the whole family goes there, it's all opulent and they love it. But there's a twist. The twist is that as soon as her family turns their backs and she's married and the new princess of this new fancy town, they throw her to be sacrificed to the dragon.
Tale as old as time.
Yes. So it's like a turn on its head thing where instead of being saved by the prince, she has to save herself. And how she does that.
I hate these strong female characters in movies.
It's a strong
Can't some
female
nice
character
man
movie.
come and save her?
You'd think. I would say the big issue with the movie though is it takes its time to get to Millie Bobby Brown versus the dragon. When a good 45 minutes goes by before.
Wait, this is the dragon's fault?
Mm-hmm.
Should have shown up earlier.
I would honestly, you'd have to watch the movie to find out if it's the dragon's fault. The dragon talks, by the way. It's a talking dragon.
So this is not a good movie, is what you're saying.
I didn't hate it, but I don't think you would like it, Chibi.
Who voices the dragon?
I forget. I know who she is. I don't know the actress's name. So I know I'm bad, but Millie Bobby Brown. It's got Robin Wright Penn as the evil queen. Well, she's not Robin Wright Penn anymore. She's Robin Wright again. But Robin Wright is the evil queen. So it's sort of like there's like a couple of like subtle references to the Princess Bride because she's, it's like, there's that whole thing going on. Yeah, it's not bad. I think those are the only two real names in the movie.
All right. And the dragon.
And the dragon. So
cool.
I don't know. Damsel, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's something to watch if you need something to watch. And speaking of rewatching with kids, Elliot watched Deadpool on his own a couple of weeks ago. So, because he wanted to watch Deadpool.
The R-rated version?
The R-rated version of Deadpool.
Ooh.
He's going to be 13 in like 2 months. It's fine. How old were you when you saw RoboCop? Really?
13.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of RoboCop. Oh, here. Check out my new Alex Murphy figure that just came.
Ooh. Does the hand pop off?
Dude, everything comes off. You can replace the arm with like a mangled, blown apart arm. You can replace his torso with a torso that has filled with bullet holes. There's like blood splurting plastic, shit that you can add to him.
That's cool.
You can really fuck him up.
So why'd you show us the healthy looking version?
I just got it and I just pulled it out of the box like 5 minutes before we did the show.
I'm excited to see more photos. We watched Deadpool 2 together.
Nice.
Over the weekend. That movie is fun. That's a good movie that holds up. And it's nice. There's something about, because again, this goes even back to the Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Watching a movie with your kids where they don't know anything going in and seeing those moments that to you are just kind of like, yeah, everyone knows Large Marge. Everyone knows that. But your kids didn't, I'm assuming. They
did not. And it still hit. Like, Large Marge still hits.
There's that joy of watching your kids see something like that for the first time. And even in Deadpool 2, when Juggernaut comes out for the first time. That was exciting. Cool. Yeah, because Elliot had no idea. He's like, who's the big guy in the cell? Who's the big guy in the cell? And I have
Batman.
I have the Juggernaut. There's Batman jokes in that movie. I have the Juggernaut toy and stuff. He knows who the Juggernaut is. So as soon as it came out, he was like, holy crap, it's the Juggernaut.
Does he know I'm the Juggernaut, bitch?
He doesn't.
You might have to introduce that to him.
Yeah.
About time.
It might be time.
The rite of passage.
He enjoyed it. The good thing is also now we could go see Deadpool 3 in the theaters together. Even though people will probably give me dirty looks. Although, no, they won't.
No, they won't. They don't give a shit.
Yeah. And A, no one cares. B, he's not a baby. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So that was kind of fun. But yes, I highly recommend watching movies with moments like the Large Marge moment or anything where there's a surprise. Like Sabrina and I
The
watched
Godfather
Psycho.
too.
We watched Psycho. I watched with Sabrina, and she didn't know the twist in that movie either.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kids aren't talking about Psycho.
Exactly. And I asked her, I'm like, what
Which
do you
version
know?
did you watch?
The original,
Okay.
black and white, Alfred Hitchcock, real deal. And she was like, I'm like, did you know who it was? She's like, I thought who it was, but I didn't know.
Hey, don't spoil Psycho on this show.
I didn't know how they were doing it. And I was like, see, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
So,
on the TV front, I've been watching a few new things. Have you heard about Manhunt? Do you know what that is?
No.
That's the new Apple TV show that neither of you guys are going to watch, but it's about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's actually about
I might watch this.
It's really about the manhunt of John Wilkes Booth.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the first episode. It seems pretty good. The weird thing about it is, all right, let me ask you a question. You're making a show that Abraham Lincoln,
Abraham Lincoln adjacent.
He's in it. He has lines.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, he dies in the first episode.
Whoa.
He may come back through flashbacks. I don't know, just to show, Anyway, you're making an Abraham Lincoln adjacent thing. What 3 things for your Abraham Lincoln do you need to do to have an Abraham Lincoln? There's a checklist.
He's got to have a beard.
Yeah.
He's got to have the hat.
Yeah.
He's got to be, either tall or skinny, preferably both.
There you go. The 3 things. So
maybe a wart on his nose.
I was going to say the wart. You got to have the mole thing over
or on his face. Yeah, around his nose. Yep.
Dude, the guy is
and
fucking.
He's got to say, party on, dudes.
20 minutes ago. They hired a guy, he's probably 5'9". And I was like, you can't have an Abraham Lincoln where he's talking to people and there are people, everybody's taller than him, or most people are taller than him. 6'4" in the 1800s is 6'11" today, probably, right, Ship? I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
That's right, something like that.
Yeah.
So that bothered me, especially as a tall person, but he got his real quick though, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. Lying down on his bed, he's all the same. Everybody's the same height with blood coming out of you. Anyway, the episode, so it's surprisingly violent. Like every fucking modern show that comes out, they have to show, do we really need to see fucking Lincoln bleeding out in his bed?
How was the Lincoln sex before that?
There's no sex in it.
You see a little Lincoln ass in there?
Everyone knows that Mary Todd Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln did not enjoy each other's company, and they slept in separate rooms, and they kind of hated each other.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's not really that they hated each other. It's when their son died, they kind of drifted apart, and they were both too depressed to ever get over it.
Right. And he has a high pitched voice in this too. Is he supposed to have a high pitched voice, Abraham Lincoln? He is. He was okay. Well, I got that. So why they get the high pitched voice?
Disneyland doesn't have a high pitched voice.
I know history has made him sound more like this, or they gave him that gravitas voice. But
party on, dudes.
Yeah. But historically speaking, the thing with Abraham Lincoln is that he apparently had a kind of a high pitched squeaky voice.
Right.
But who knows?
Anyway,
it's like the dinosaurs. Maybe they had feathers.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's an interesting concept, a murder investigation in the 1800s, and it's Lincoln. You get the idea. The other show that I'm watching that you're definitely not going to watch is called Extremely Inappropriate, and it's on Netflix, and it's a Japanese comedy drama. Wombat just went to sleep immediately. But let me just tell you the plot, because it's funny. The plot is, you can appreciate the plot. The plot is a gym teacher in Japan, a Japanese gym teacher from like 1986, gets sucked into like a time, travels into the future, into now, and no, Wombat's falling asleep. And he's like it's like Al Bundy. Imagine Al Bundy, but Japanese in 2024 doing Al Bundy things. Okay. So like, for example, he's on the bus and he's smoking cigarettes, and people are looking at him and he doesn't understand what's happening. He's just smoking, and he's like, what? Like, you want me to open a window? And people like start pulling out their cameras, their phones, and he doesn't even know what those things are. And all kinds of shit like that. It's funny and very Japanese, obviously. It's called Extremely Inappropriate. Our audience, parts of our audience would definitely be into it. Just not the two people I'm talking to right now. Fair enough. Are you watching Invincible? Because season 2, part 2 just started up again.
I never finished season 1. I had like one episode left of season 1, and I never finished it.
So you can't go back? It's pretty good and intense.
I know it's good. I know it is. You know, it's I don't know. Like you just said, it's the over violence for violence sake. I feel like I'm over that in most things.
I hear you. I'd say
not Deadpool 2 though.
No, not Deadpool 2. I feel like that does it well. And actually Deadpool 2, despite it does have some grossness at the beginning, after that it kind of mellows
that whole
out.
It's a cartoon anyway. It's a live action cartoon, and and Invincible is a cartoon. I don't mind the violence in it that much, and at least in Invincible, like they kill off main characters all the time in that.
I know, and part of me doesn't like that.
Right. So like the violence has like, I mean, it's not necessary, but it has a purpose. Like you're watching it just to pull. You're watching like your favorite heroes get pulled apart, and then you can feel yourself get pulled apart too, on the inside. I don't know. Yeah, it is too much. It would be just as good without all that violence. You know, I feel. Curry Manju writes in, and he wants us to talk about X-Men 97, which is actually just going live.
I watched the first episode.
You did?
Yeah,
I thought it went live at like 9:00.
No, it went live. I don't know when, but I watched the first episode at like 6.
Oh, okay.
I actually had the house to myself from 6 to 6:30.
All right.
I watched the first episode of X-Men 97.
Shit.
Yeah. Did you like are you a fan of the X-Men cartoon?
Of course.
From the 90s?
Of course. Who isn't?
Then you'll be a fan of X-Men 97. Actually, you know what this cartoon does really well? At least the first episode. I can't speak to.
Right. Cartoon does it well, though.
Wolverine.
Yeah. Actually, Wolverine is in it. But
he did it. Good job.
Cyclops.
Is a good
Cyclops is also in it.
They make Cyclops a badass in this.
Right.
They're like, people make fun of Cyclops too much. We need to remind people that Cyclops isn't a joke character.
Right. He's one of the strongest guys.
And see, you're making the face.
His eyes are strong. He can fucking blow through anything.
He's a silly character.
He is as good a fighter as Captain America. And when Captain America needs advice on battle strategy, you know who he calls?
Really?
Cyclops.
But I think the kids today would call him a cuck, I feel.
No.
He's not a cuck?
No. No. Not only is he not, not only is he not.
He's cooking.
When his wife died, he impregnated a clone of his wife, and then his wife came back, and then he had both things going on at some point, and then he got rid of both of them and started dating the girl that they both hated the most in the world, and then he went back to his first wife girlfriend thing, and he gets around. I don't think anyone is holding Scott Summers back. So, but anyway, he does he does some real good ass kicking in this, and they show off like exactly how powerful the optic blast can be and all that kind of stuff that because it's not 1990 anymore and the rules don't apply, the X-Men can actually punch people.
Right.
You know,
They
because
can
in the
hurt
original
people.
cartoons, they couldn't punch anybody
Right.
in
Oh
those
my
old
God.
cartoons. So they had to like figure out ways to get around it. Like a lot of people just fall down.
That's what made it good.
Yeah. So now you could actually have, you know,
Now
Cyclops.
they're just back to punching people now.
Yeah,
Before they had to get creative.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the first episode and early in it, he beats up like 5 guys on his own. I'm like, look at this.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
So-
I'll watch it with Ty.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll watch it with the kids as well. They've watched the entirety of the old series. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, everyone will like it. It's fun. It's got lots of Easter eggs in it. And yeah, I don't know. I think it has some slow moments, but I think, whatever. It's the first episode. I'll cut it some slack. It's got a
is Beast still in that jail cell?
No, Beast is just right there. He's there. He's in his blue, all blue goodness.
Wasn't he in
So,
that jail cell for like 3 seasons? Just
something like that?
solitary confinement for no reason.
Well, so he could hang upside down. I
Reading
think.
upside down, reading his book.
How are you going to hold onto a ceiling with your beast feet? You can. You need bars.
The
I guess-
only thing that's weird is the voices are not, for many reasons. Also, a lot of those cast members have passed away. It's not the same voice actors anymore, and it's people doing those voices. So you can sometimes kind of like it. It doesn't always work sometimes, but
Except Wolverine. They don't have an Australian guy, right?
no, it's not an Australian guy. It's people trying to do the voices of the original show.
Except the Australian guy.
He wasn't Australian.
They made it. I thought he was Australian in that one. The voice.
No, he was only Australian in the Kitty Pryde pilot episode from 1989, which is not related to this cartoon. Pride of the X-Men. That's what it's called.
No.
Yeah, he was Australian in Pride of the X-Men, and I think he was Australian in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But don't quote me on that.
Fine.
So, mm-hmm.
All right. Let's.
Kuramanju says that it is the same voice actors. I thought it was some different. Well, I know some of them have passed away. I want to say the Cyclops voice actor died, but anyway, doesn't matter. I'd look it up on this computer, but it would cause this computer to crash, so I'm not going to do it.
Right.